Okay, calculus is the study of change. Okay, calculus is actually anything you can deal with, anything that has a change. Anything that's changed you can model using calculus. The reason actually calculus was invented was twofold. One, Newton was trying to find a way to use equations in physics, so that's what Newton did. There's another man named Leibniz who did it. What he did was he watched a fly move around the room, and he thought, how can we model that in 2 dimensions? Okay, so that's where it comes from. So anything with change is calculus. So find that right here. I can say that. You've never.
Calculus wouldn't even been invented.
Yeah.
All right, let's not start a fight here. Wait till Mr. Lacey hears that.
Mr. Sadler's so good.
Don't you dare use my bonus of fight. Okay, I apologize. This will never happen again. There's way too many papers in the first test. Right? If anyone wants to buy me a new computer, I can do that too. Okay, oh yeah, this is where we're going to start. Factoring special polynomials. Second text. Okay, you guys didn't have to write your exam on this, which is unbelievable. Okay. Can somebody tell me, if you give you something awful, how do you factor like a cubic or a quartic or a quintic function? How do you factor something big like that? John? Yes? Good. But how do you tell what you divide by? How can you tell what you divide by? Yeah, John?
You have to use like a factor. You have to basically guess until you find a factor.
Yes. Okay. Factor theorem says, if f of a equals 0, then x minus a is a factor. Yeah, p and q and all that stuff there too. Okay, let's start off with something like this. If I do a okay, this one can be done instantly. Let's do it the old-fashioned way, though. Okay, then we'll do the quick version in a second. So using the factor theorem, how would I figure out what a factor of that is going to be? What would be a good number to check? 4 might work. Where would you get 4 from? 4 cubed is 64. That's what I would try. So let's try f of 4. Theta 4, x minus 4 is. Do you want to use long division or synthetic division? Synthetic? Yes. I'm going to use long division first. Yes. Okay, I'm going to do it like this first because you have to do this. Now, just as a reminder, if you haven't been in this course for a long time, what do you have to remember when you're doing something like x cubed minus 64? Put the zeros, very good. So it's got to go plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 64. Okay, I'm going to pick on someone at random that took this course last semester. Name Austin. Austin, what's your time to shine? Remember the first step of doing this. What do we do?
So many times that x minus 4 goes into x.
How many times is that? Yeah. You said twice, you meant x twice.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now the reason, if you're not sure how we got that, what happened was you have to multiply x times x squared to get x cubed here. Right? And then you multiply x times negative 4 and you get negative 4x squared. Okay. Someone else who took this course last semester, tell me what the next step is then. This is why Spider-Man comes out, because of the silence. Dakota, what do I do?
Well, if you're subtracting that, you end up with 4x squared plus 0x.
Good. Because remember, you're actually subtracting that, so it's 4x squared plus 0x. Good. Is this starting to come back for people? Megan, you're all over this? Okay, who else took this course last semester? John, what do you next?
Let's find out how many times x minus 4 would be 4x squared.
Yeah.
That would be once.
Or
4x.
4x, love it. Okay, 4x times x is 4x squared minus 16x. This is coming back for most people, I hope. Can I speed it up? I'm going way too slow. This is okay for people? You just had your exam last week, right?
No.
Did anyone come into this class and wait their exam? One? Okay, one brave person. Two people did. Two people did. You know what Mr. Kemp's class did? No. Okay, here we go. So this turns into, I don't know if anyone knows this, the internet shouldn't hear this. You know you couldn't actually lose on the exam, right? You know, let's say you got 4% on your exam, your mark would still say at 85. So why would not everyone just write their exams just to the chance of boosting their mark?
Because
I don't get it.
like 1%, so it's worth it.
Why waste your time to get a scholarship? Oh goodness, I don't understand you guys. Okay, I'll finish this one off here. Is that right? Okay. Okay, there is a remainder of 0. Why am I happy? I'm always happy. It actually factors. So that means that this actually equals Can anyone see a quicker way I could have done that? That is in fact the difference of cubes. We're going to prove that right now. We're going to prove the difference of cubes.
Yes.
So what I'm going to prove is that x cubed minus y cubed. Can somebody tell me what x cubed minus y cubed is actually equal to? Yeah, go ahead.
X squared plus xy plus y squared.
Okay, good. X squared plus xy plus y squared, and then there's an x minus y coming up first, right? Is this looking somewhat familiar for people? How would I actually prove that? Because in calculus, there's a lot of proofs. Okay, you can't just say, yeah, that's true, let's go with it. Because we can't do that. How do I actually prove that? So right, so it worked for me. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use long division again, because I love long division. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out, first of all, you have to check as a factor. How would I check to show that x minus y is what I'm taking out? What would I have to do to make sure that you get this part? How would I know to take that out other than just knowledge? Okay, if you're not sure, look back at the previous example. How do we get the x minus 4? How do you get the x minus 4 from that? Yeah, it's a factor. So what I have to do is use factor theorem. F of what should equal 0? F of what? I know you've been off for 2 weeks. You guys gotta try it. Yeah, go ahead.
X minus y.
Not x minus y, because x minus y would give you. Well, think of what factor theorem. I'm going all the way back here. If you have f of a equals 0, x minus a is a factor. We want x minus y to be a factor, so what are we looking for? F of y. Right? So we got to show this here. So f of y, what does f of y equal? Someone be brave. Sub some numbers in. Please be brave. F of y. Okay, we're using the left-hand side first of all. Right? We'll say this. F of x is equal to whatever. That's our original equation. Right? So what is f of y going to be then? This is where Spider-Man comes up. Nick, can you help me, please?
Wouldn't you just sub the y into your x value?
Works for me. What's y cubed minus y cubed? Nothing. Lovely. What does that tell me about the world? Sorry? It's a factor. So we just proved that x minus y is a factor. Are you following me somewhere on what's happening here? Right? Because we can't just say x minus y is a factor. You can say it's coming out. We just actually show that's true. Robert, you're good? It's coming back, yes? Long division, we never left. Austin? I'm gonna make better jokes. I apologize for the, and I respect the hair a great deal, okay, you know that. Look at me, my daughter who has got hair, she never got a haircut before, so she's like 3 feet tall and she has 2 feet of hair, that's what she got, like she has a lot of hair. She got her first haircut, she goes to daycare and she says, I got my haircut and so did my dad. I'm like, okay, well look at me, how much hair do I have? He said, it's like, what, half a centimeter is what I did take off me, and to take a foot off her, it's a little bit more.
Maybe they should put it on your head.
I've asked them to, it's not scientifically possible to do such a thing, okay, but I have tried, it doesn't. Here we go. That would be a good question, the rate of change of Mr. Sadler's hair will be a good question. Okay, what goes in the divide sign then? What goes in the divide sign? What goes in there? Yeah, now here's the thing, the x cubed is going to go in here. What's the next term going to be? This is where life gets difficult. We're going to end up with y cubed, right? Now who's going to say 0x squared? You're not quite right. Think of like, remember Pascal's triangle from grade 11, going back. Because remember what happened, the x's are going to count down, right? What's going to happen to the y's then? We're going to count out. So I'm going to count this, I'm going to call this as 0x squared y. Okay, so you're starting out with 0 y's, then you have 1 y. The next one then is going to be 0xy squared. Is that, if you know, again, I'm going through quickly here, I'm not going through quickly, this is the pace of the course. Okay, please somebody stop me if something's not somewhat clear.
What are we, I don't understand.
We're actually just proving this. We're saying this is what we have to do in order to use this guy. We actually got to show that it works. Right. Anything in math, and this is where you're going to say why can't we use this in why could we not use this in grade 9 when we first learned it? Right. You have to be able to show that something works in the general case before you can actually use it in life. So that's all we're doing here. We're just showing that this is actually true. Okay.
But so why are we using that equation as our divisor?
This you mean? Yeah. Well, because you want x cubed minus y cubed, right? That's the thing, and the zero's in the middle. What has to happen is if we count down like that. Okay, let's start off at the beginning here then. X cubed, so x times what gives you x cubed? Lovely. So I'm going to put x squared up here someplace. Okay, this turns into then x squared minus x squared y. And I think now we can see why I did some foreshadowing there, why the x squared y had to come in there. Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to tell you another joke here. This happened last year, in my first year I taught calculus here. The whole class was silent all through life. And all of a sudden I make one little mistake like that, and I have 25 hands that turn around. Oh, Mr. Sadler, let's read x cubed, x cubed, x cubed. Forget it, you guys are still intimidated by me. Don't be afraid. Okay, can somebody subtract those two things? What are we left with? Let's subtract them. X squared y, lovely. Okay, now be brave. What's x times what gives you x squared y? X times x gives you x squared y?
Oh.
X times y.
Can you always read that x squared y is 0 x squared y plus x squared y? Like
Which part here?
at the bottom of the last page.
Okay, so I'm just subtracting, right? Right, x cubed minus x cubed is nothing.
Yeah.
And then 0 minus negative x squared y is a plus thing.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, because you know what I mean? Like, it's a negative. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
It turns into negative. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? I was actually taught the same lesson with grade 9s this morning with double negatives, and I said it anyway. Sorry, I'm not really this bubbly. I've had 2 weeks off. Okay, so all of my 2 weeks is just sort of exploding out once. Okay, I'll be more calm tomorrow. Okay, what does that turn into though? X times what gives you x squared y? Oh goodness. Is that?
You already said xy.
XY, okay. And actually, if you're not sure, sorry, whoever said it, sorry, thank you. I mean, that's really what we're going to, right? And so it should work out to be the same thing. X times XY is, we'll bring that down, is x squared y minus xy squared. Okay, when you subtract those two, what are we left with? y cubed. Okay. X times what gives you xy squared minus y cubed? Squared, thank you. And it turns into this, and you get a 0. So it turns into x cubed minus y cubed equals x minus y, x squared plus xy plus y squared. It's a quick and easy factoring method. You guys prove that in advanced functions? If you did, I apologize for wasting 10 minutes. Your homework, the first part of your homework is prove x cubed plus y cubed equals x plus y, x squared minus x. That's the first question.
Now, can we do this whole process using synthetic division?
You could. The problem I don't like with synthetic division, though, I can. This is my own thing. You'd have like this here, right? And then it would be 1, 0, 0, negative. Like, how does that work, right? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't.
You'd have to really think about what is going in what column.
Yeah, like it doesn't really work. So, because this is, yeah, you know what I mean? So it works a lot better with integers. Like even synthetic division doesn't really work that well with like a 2x minus 1, right? Like it works, but it doesn't, right? So, okay, that's the first example. Example 2. Long division is done. Synthetic division. There's no real synthetic division. Okay. Oh, here we go. Rationals. Okay, if you're in my class in grade 10, you will know that I love these. I should probably stop that video because it's going to be too long. You'll know that I love this video.